What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. It's your TNA review. Your host, BS Sports Jedi Kev, and the one and only PGH Chris joining us. What's going on, Chris?
What is up, everybody? Yes, another TNA Impact review right after the show. I am excited to be here, like always. TNA was an okay show. Again, these 2 hours fly a hell of a lot faster than NXT. I know we're all tired on the weekdays, but I don't know about you, bro. But after I watch NXT, I just want to sleep for 10 hours because those are the longest 2 hours ever. This again, another great show, length. Some unexpected things happen right with the return here. So this was another good pace show with some good interesting shit happening.
Absolutely. Want to shout out Joe Shipley in the chat and everyone watching us on all the different platforms, all the different destinations. Thank you for joining us here September 18th, 2025. 2 months for my birthday. 2 months before I hit the 4-9. And TNA will be on that week.
2-3 for me.
Orlando. They'll be in Orlando that week of our birthday. So hopefully I'm able to celebrate my birthday week around the 13th to the 15th.
You will.
TNA roster.
Don't
TNA
worry.
fans. I want to be there. I want to be in attendance for those 3 days for TNA. I want to see everyone on there. Yeah, this was a good one. We got 2 weeks to build for Victory Road, but the main topic of tonight was the reaction of all that tweeting that we saw on NXT Homecoming. What's that? We know this is a tape programming. We know that we weren't going to get too much, but I like the fact that they actually touched the fact, and they talked about it with both Tom Halligan and Matthew Reed. While they both were able to talk about it and say how that it bothered, and they show footage. Let's get right into it. We had an opening contest with the system. The whole system showed up. Order 4 showed up. We had Brian Myers taking a Mustafa Ali. And you know what? It was around 8:07, but this match went only 2.5 minutes. But Mustafa Ali gets the roll of victory, but all hell broke loose. The brouhaha, the Order 4 with their service, along with Alicia Edwards and Tasha Steele rolling around, going wrestling, fighting each other, going all over, where it prompted Santino Marella to come out, make an announcement for Bound for Glory. We got the Hardcore War is back. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see that Order 4 versus the system. But after that announcement, you get the great face-to-face stare-off in the middle of the ring with Agent Zero and Moose in the middle of the ring. Those two behemoth. Moose gets hit with a headbutt to the chest, and of course, Agent Zero continues to be strong. Your thoughts there in that opening segment with all that, with the Order 4, the system? Are you invested?
I mean, I'm interested to see what Agent Zero can do inside of a ring. So if this gets him involved in like a tag team match or something, I'm all for it. But I like the opening contest. I would like to see Moose in a 1-on-1 against Agent Zero in the future. That's like a match that they could build to, which they're starting to. Two really, really big dudes. Mustafa Ali getting that pin, I mean, it makes sense. He's that heel. It was a little, weird, opening contest only lasting 2 minutes like that. But I think the end game here is, to build that story up with Moose, maybe the rest of the system as well. But really with Moose, Mustafa, add Agent in there. Maybe we'll see like a Brian Myers or an Eddie Edwards with Moose versus Agent and Mustafa, a Victory Road or something like that. So, but I didn't think it was a quick and different opening segment, but it wasn't bad.
All right, I see. I hear what you're saying. Could we get a returning JDC part of that?
Or that too. Yes, make it a
Because it's
6-man if you want.
the numbers games are off right now.
Or you
Agent
can make it
Zero,
an 8-man because they got 4 members. So
you could do that.
you could have all members of the system.
I think everyone's going to be involved because it gives everyone a opportunity, a slot to wrestle.
Oh wait,
Glory.
oh yeah, and that hardcore war match is going to be cool too.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. That's exactly what
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be cool. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be great. I mean, we're going to see what Agent, and they're at. I think it's cool that they even included Alicia Edwards and Tyra Steele. Sorry, I get confused. I almost said Tyra May Steele, a girl in
Still, I
NXT.
know.
Dude,
Hmm.
holy shit! But
You're tired. You could tell. You could see it a little bit on
no,
your.
bro, I do it all the time, even with with the Zayas and all that stuff. But I like how they're included in this. We saw it, with Anarchy in the Arena. They're adding women into these hardcore type of matches involving the men, and I think it's good because it's kind of they shouldn't just be out there as managers or valets. They can go. They can go. So they're out there. It's going to be great. Agent Zero, we're going to see what he can do in a match. But overall, I liked it. I liked the opening segment, but like I said, different because it was only a 2-minute match. But the end game, the goal was
But the chaos was more.
yes,
The chaos was more than the in ring, and
100%.
also, Chris, what I appreciate from TNA, they're not afraid of the mixed gender going at it
No,
wrestling.
they're not.
It's not like when the ladies are in, or the one male goes in, she has to leave the ring to mix it up, female. They believe if you're an in-ring competitor and you're safe, you're able to go male versus female and go at it. Of course, listen, if you remember the gauntlet with the call your shot for the battle royal, Jordan Grayson, Bubba Ray Dudley, all those big wars back a couple years, not a couple
Exactly.
years ago. So
And
they're
we
not afraid
saw
of
it
that.
at Slammiversary, and
Hmm.
we saw it with Jakar Jackson.
Yeah, they're not afraid of
So
it.
they're not afraid to do it.
I like where they're going
I mean,
because
Tommy Dreamer's the booker, so of course they're not afraid to do it, right?
if they do take one of the wrestlers out of the system, I could see where it could be a Brian Myers and a JDC taking his place due to the fact of the main event. We'll put a pin on that one for a reason for the main event. Why I think you could have a returning JDC in and then Brian Myers out for a moment, and we'll get to that, but we'll move on because we get a backstage with Gia Miller. Gia Miller, speaking with the Nemeths, both Nick and Ryan Nemeth. Nick is about to speak, but he gets cut off by his brother, not just once, but twice. You see a little bit of frustration, or a little bit of annoyance from Nick Nemeth. Could that be something that they're teasing later down the road? I think the Nemeths are great as tag teams, but now in 2025, do tag teams really survive for a long time? They always like to go for that split, heel turn or versus each other. But your thoughts there? Also, Gia Miller, when Nick Nemeth finally speaks, I like when he cuts the promo, calls her Mean Gia. So
It's great. It's
teasing.
great. Yeah, teasing. Setting up the main event. I think Gia Miller's great, and we see more of great Gia Miller later.
Yes, we do. We do see a little more of Gia Miller later down the road. Let's talk about that because we had a
Yeah,
segment. Let's talk about that segment because again, Victoria Crawford has another podcast type of segment.
that fucking
Her
small ass Yeti.
She has the Pink Yeti microphone. She has Jody Threat as her what you call it, guest, and
Her
it
like
just didn't go
co-host or
well.
some shit.
It didn't go. It was a special guest. It didn't really go well.
Wasn't
Talking
she there
about
last week though?
it was supposed. No, it was Gia Miller, and then Jody Threat came
When
out
they did
to
that
interrupt it.
awful. Oh yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right.
It
You're
was the
right.
roles were
Yeah,
reversed,
yeah.
and then Gia Miller came out to interrupt. Where
Mhm.
Jody Threat, this isn't working. This is terrible. Kind of paraphrasing, but we get the fact that the suspension is lifted. Gia Miller spoke with Santino to allow Tessa Blanchard
Let's
back
go.
into the TNA locker room, but he told her, but if she ever thinks about putting a warning, if she ever thinks about putting her hands on me again, I'm going to F her up.
She's
It was
putting her
bleep.
hands on her again, and we're getting the matchup Bound for Glory. I cannot wait.
Ooh, that's gonna be good. I could see a tag team first. I could be so you want to
For her and
protect Gia
Alicia. So
Miller,
who's Gia's tag team partner?
Jody Threat. She's been
Okay,
involved in
perfect.
all
Boom.
those
There you
different
go.
different things. I think that's what it's going to lead to down the road.
I like it.
Jody Threat there. Let's talk about the next match here. It's the Elegance brand. All three ladies of the Elegance brand taking on the Inspiration with Marsha Slamovich, the six woman. At the beginning, it got a little wonky with all the little convoluting running around with the
Oh
ladies.
shit, it was wonky.
It was a little wonky, but the ladies worked. I like the fact what we keep coming out of all this when it comes to the Elegance brand. Maggie, we know Maggie has a big upside future in TNA and in women's wrestling. She checks the box. Her height, her look, her mannerisms in the ring. Right now, I know you mentioned, well, she got to get away from that, or when she gets turns finally heel away from the Elegance brand, she's got to be this mean, strong build. Right now, she's fitting the role that she's asked to play right now, or to be
Right.
part of the Elegance brand. She's doing a good job. She fits that. She gets the victory with the champagne in the eyes. Referee distraction, gets the champagne by Ash into the eyes. Maggie with the roll up, using her long legs on the rope, second ropes, gets the pin, and the Elegance brand turns out to be victorious. You know what? I like the ending. The beginning of the match was okay. The middle of it got a little wonky. To close it out, they kind of made it make sense. Good job, because they took us on a roller coaster. You saw some not so good. You got some bad, and then we got some good at the end. They did a little bit of everything to tell me in that story, Chris.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay, but with Maggie Lee, I want to touch on that a little bit
Sure.
because I think she's great. It's one of those things with her that she just needs to get her feet wet. She needs to get her foot in the door like you have to with anything else. I don't know if she's like the greatest at promos just yet. That's why she has the personal concierge. I would like to see her in the future kind of take that lead, take that role. I'm not saying, because we know Ash is the star of that group. She's the world champion or knockouts champion, for crying out loud. But what I'm saying is, when she loses that title, I really think they should focus on Maggie Lee. Especially if they do drop those knockouts tag team titles. That's where you do the trigger. You do it. Oh my God, we lost our titles. Boom, you do the trigger with Maggie Lee. But that's what I wanted to say with Maggie Lee, because I brought that up on the watch along, where I think she's going to be a great heel when she breaks out on her own. I even said she has potential to be a little bit more interesting than Megan Bain in that type of thing. So we'll see what happens. But the match, it was okay. I'm more used to seeing Masha and these really intense fights. So when I see her playing Ring Around the Rosie with the Iconics, doesn't really get me excited. But that's we'll see what happens. But I got a lot of hopes for Maggie Lee.
Hey, I loved it. You know what? One thing that always hits, it's George the Iceman, the personal concierge.
Damn fucking right.
Because even before they even came out, he had it backstage with Danny Nuna, pretty much egging her on to take out Indy Hartwell.
Yes.
He says, "Look, I know you're not in line for a number one contenders, an opportunity at the Knockouts title just yet. But if you were to happen to take out your competition, maybe I could do something, kind of fit you in, wink, wink, take care, like a higher mercenary, make a statement, take out your competition. Who knows, you might be able to jump the line and jump up and have a personal, a opportunity, because your number one contender isn't physically fit to, wink, wink, paraphrasing, which I like what George is doing. He's protecting his ladies. He's protecting the Elegance brand. He's protecting everyone in that Elegance brand. And like we were talking about with Maggie, Heather doesn't speak much either on the microphone. It's George. No. But hopefully they're giving this opportunity. Here's the one thing right now, guys. They're learning how to work television. Even if it's TNA, even if it's recorded, whatever the case is, coming from the independent scene as Heather Reckless, Maggie Lee from the independent scene, they're learning how to work major company television, major company TNA. You saw them in NXT at times. That's going to help them further their development later down the road, while they're learning by baptism under fire. And you have to appreciate that. The microphone skills and stuff, hopefully they have some good folk coaches there, and I think they do. We know they have Ace Steel. They know they have Landstorm. They have Tommy Dreamer. They have so many others in there that could help them with that promo and get them over. I think the ladies are in some good hands, especially with the Iceman, with the concierge going forward. I don't know how much they're going to learn from Ash. Don't know, because she also could use a little help with the promos at times on her own. She could get certain things to hold, but I don't know if she's the perfect one to be a mentor for the ladies. She could teach them how to conduct and work television, to get to a match at the time, their time of peak when the refs tell them to wrap it up, all that stuff, little inside wrestling. But that other stuff there, I think that's where the coaches and producers are going to help those two other ladies going forward. The fact that they're your Knockouts tag team champion currently right now, it does wonders for them because they feel special, they feel important, and we'll find out what happens there. I thought, like you said, perfect combination. The ladies won. I understand it was rare to see an assassin like Marsha Slamovich play Ring Around the Rosies with the Iconics. Yeah,
I'm good on that, man.
Yeah.
This girl was just in an intense blood sport match, and now she's with. I'm not. You know how I feel about the Iconics. I'm not that big on them. I'm not. So I don't think
they might be Knockouts tag team champions soon. I mean, who knows? We got a match here. Speaking of that, the cleansing. Eric Young taking on one of his protege, former Judas Icarus. So we kind of seen that it could be a split. Now, here's the thing, though. We saw Mustafa Ali take on Skylar Tyler, and then they a week or 2 weeks later, they're back together. So I don't know if they're going to split the Northern Armory from Eric Young. Eric Young I know he's unhinged. He wants to cleanse. He wants to do a lot of different things in TNA. All in all, the kid gets a flash pin on Eric Young due to the interference or the distraction of Joe Henry. Now, Joe Henry, there's been a lot of controversy with Henry. Reported it by John Alba and all the media outlets. Joe Henry working with WWE, part of the WWE roster. They're going to transition him in, where they're going to phase him out of TNA wrestling. We said this here weeks that we could see Joe Henry getting cleansed completely out of the company by Eric Young. That looks like what's going to lead to, where you write him off at TNA television onto the WWE format, because he's been coming out of appliances. From every time you say his name, he's jumping, he's breaking walls like the Kool-Aid Man, or coming out of appliances. But with Joe Henry, I mentioned it on Tuesday night on the watch along. He's on the introduction video for TNA, for NXT as well. So I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Since when they added Joe Henry on the intro video? And Joe Henry's on the intro video. We all know he went on that European tour. Also, they're teasing a kind of an invasion. Joe Henry's over there. He opened the door by dropping the title first for Trick Williams to let them in. And he's hanging out over there, with the NXT talent. So he might be considered the Benedict Arnold trader of the company, and that's just where an Eric Young could come in and cleanse him. There's going to be more feud, where you saw the Northern Armory, who needed the victory. I think Judas Icarus needed that victory. Eric Young, it doesn't hurt him. He's just going to get more unhinged. It's just going to have more fuel for the fire when these two guys lock up. Finally, either I don't know, is that a Victory Road or Bound for Glory? Not too sure on that.
Joe Henry will have another match at Bound for Glory, but this was all right. I agree with. I have nothing really much to add. I don't think it hurts Eric Young. It, like you mentioned, it makes him chase the cleanse more. So I like it, but I could see this being more of a Victory Road type of match.
And of course, Eric Young unhinged after losing that match. He punches the referee. Young referee, a new young referee, got his lights punched out. I don't know if that's funny. A referee for just that match, because he was going to take that bump. But yeah, that was a funny unhinged moment for Eric Young. Also, I wanted to make a note. When Santino mentioned the hardcore warfare, the commentary said, "Oh, it's adding more to this faction." He said it plural, in kind of like, we're gonna get another faction match here on Bound for Glory. They never announced any other faction match, so keep an eye on that. Yeah. When I mean that, keep an eye on that with this possible invasion. Because I think tonight was a mixture of live commentary at times with some recorded commentary at the arena. So I think there might have been a slip up when he uses plural, or he used it with multiple matches there. So keep an eye on that. You gotta sometimes listen to the broadcast as well. And I kind of picked up and I said it immediately. Wait a minute, since when they announced more than one fashion match? So Who knows with Eric Young? It could be an Eric Young team versus a Joe Henry team, and Joe Henry's could bring some NXT like a Hank and Tank. I know nobody wants to see that, but something along those lines. Just keep an eye on that and how they build going forward there, especially with that invasion angle coming up. We had a Treehouse segment. Now we had a Treehouse segment with all three members, Marlon Reed. We had, of course, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, talking about the match, pretty much recapping their match. They should have, could have, would have. Marlon Reed wins. It was what it was. It was like a filler for a segment for just jokes with congratulating. They lit up the room full of smoke, congratulating Marlon Reed. In comes Santino. Santino, he got hungry. He thought it was Cheetos and it was carrots. So that's pretty much what it was. Are you liking that Treehouse segment? To me, it was just a filler.
I think it's funny.
It's funny.
I think it's funny. It's cool. A little long, but it's funny.
I'm with you on that. I thought it was what it was here. We get the King's speech. Now, the King's speech with Frankie Kazarian comes out. He says he has a really special guest, one of the best top-notch guests he ever had on the King's speech, and he announced his guest himself. Frankie Kazarian goes out. That was great. I love that with Kazarian. Kazarian continues to, at his age, where he's at as a Mount Rushmore, the dude continues to elevate and continues to deliver for TNA week after week. He has his sights set on that international title, but he has another special guest. He brings out a TNA legend. I don't know if he's in the TNA Hall of Fame. I that's one thing I'm not up to date with, the TNA Hall of Fame of who is on there. But Mr. Anderson is brought out. Mr. Anderson looks good, comes out, plugs his wrestling school, of course. Said he's from Minnesota now, lives in Minnesota with his wrestling school, formerly from Milwaukee native, but now calls home from Minnesota. Gets insulted by Frankie Kazarian, back and forth, and out comes Jake Something to attack. Jake Something attacks him and brings Steve Macklin out. They're just adding fuel to the fire. Do you see a tag team here just in between for a nostalgic there for Mr. Anderson?
I mean, they're going to have the match. They announced it's going to be Steve Macklin and Anderson versus Kazarian and Jake Something. So it's going to be great. I mean, I like Mr. Anderson. He hasn't, wrestled, like you said, in 9 years in TNA, but really mainstream. So it's going to be cool to see, what he can do back in the ring. I feel like TNA is kind of bringing back a lot of old guys for a little run here, but it's cool to see. And I think Frankie, those two guys are veterans. They've wrestled a great amount of times, back in 2010s, like they mentioned in commentary. So it's going to be a good tag team. Again, Steve Macklin can do most of the stuff, and Mr. Anderson can get the hot tag and get his moves in. So it's going to be a good match. I'm curious to see what Mr. Anderson could still do in 2025.
I'm interested to see him. We were talking about him on our stream. I think we compared his run to TNA to WWE. I think Mr. Anderson was over than Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy was popular for a short time, but I think his best work was done as Mr. Anderson in TNA. Yeah. So and we compared him similar to like an LA Knight. If you want to.
That's what he reminded me of, man. If I'm really trying to compare modern day, that's what it feels like. Because the Kennedy with the I get the same vibe, and he's somebody that arguably you could have pushed into the high mid-card scene. People are saying the same shit about LA Knight. Now he's getting where, he's getting up there, but for a long time, get him up, and I feel like you could have done the same with Anderson. So
I wonder this question, Chris. Did he had a bad attitude where it held back?
Could be. It could have been. Maybe he didn't get along with Vince. I don't know.
To put him in because if you would have told me,
he's talked more about it on CVV, which I should go back and listen to, but maybe the answers are probably right there because he's an open book. He's very open in interviews, but so that might be, maybe I go listen to that one of these, maybe when we have time to, if next week or wherever we do a show, we can elaborate a little more, but. It's what I don't know. That's a good question. It could be. Guys back then had that.
To me, he's like a what if.
Absolutely.
because I think he would have been easy a WWE World Champion for even if it was a short time. I think he would have. I think he would have done well if they would have allowed him to hold the strap. I think something with a personal attitude or something held him back. Interesting, Amanda never fulfilled his promise here. We have a match here. Danny Nuna takes on Indy Hartwell. This match was a hard hitting match. Back and forth, the ladies work. They work. Where finally Danny Nuna snapped. We're seeing her becoming unhinged. She takes a chair, beats Indy Hartwell over and over the chair. Interesting to find out if Indy Hartwell is going to be medically cleared to compete in the ring for not only for Victory Road. I think she'll be fine and ready to go for Bound for Glory. I don't know if she'll make the trip to Victory Road. Unless if they're going to do a stipulation match at Victory Road for between Indy Hartwell and Danny Nuna. But your thoughts on
match
that?
Was fun. Match was good. I like Indy Hartwell. I like Danny Nuna. I think they're gonna have a match in the future. Indy's the number one contender for the Knockouts Championship. I think not if, when she wins that, I think we're gonna that's gonna be her first defense. So I think they're slowly building up for that. I do. And then it would make sense. Now Danny Nuna could easily say, hey, now let's go. I want perfect right there. I think that could be her first defense. And I think this is sort of what they're building up to.
No JC Jane, huh?
No. And it's unfortunately, bro, I don't want to, we can get into that later, but a little bit right now if you want. But it's like, I am worried that when she loses that NXT title, she won't be as popping as she is right now. But we'll see.
We'll find out. She's got a big title defense on No Mercy against Lola Vice or JC Jane, but no mention of her rematch clause whatsoever. So maybe that's something they're gonna have in her pocket. Maybe something where if Indy Hartwell is hurt, let's say they play that angle where they don't want to put that title just yet, and Danny Nuna wants to be number one contender, and JC Jane pops out and say, you didn't earn it. You didn't, it should be me and Bound for Glory if Indy can go and Danny, and then they have a kind of number one contenders, or they make a triple threat, another triple threat where, who knows what could happen there when it comes to the ladies. Don't know. We'll find out there. We get a promo here. We get a promo from Yingling Lee and Zaya Brookside. Of course, they gave their name. What were they? They were Angel Warriors. I don't know if you like the Angel Warriors. I know in our watch along didn't resonate. To me, as long as Zaya Brookside said that where her tag team partners from Chongqing, China, I was happy.
There we go.
They need to start building them, get some credible wins. I think eventually by the beginning of the year, they'll be your Knockouts Tag Team Champion. Hopefully in Orlando when I'm there. In Orlando in person, and if I see Zaya Brookside winning with Ying Lee, I am going to have a wonderful time in person with those ladies. I want to take a picture with them holding those Knockouts title. So if you guys, Zaya Brookside and Ying Lee, if you ladies do win that, please come see me at Full Sail in the attendance with those tag team titles. I want to take a picture. I am a huge fan of you ladies. So yes, to me, that would be a wonderful birthday present, taking a picture with you ladies. We get to a match. A guy named, what's his name? AJZ.
AJZ comes out with
a microphone. Would you surprise the jobber got a microphone? I mean,
no,
we don't know the guy it is to talk.
No, but Minnesota. It's simple heat. You go out there, the local sports team. Mike Santana has many world champions as the Vikings has Super Bowls, which is a statistical fact. It's good heat. So I liked it. I'll be honest. That's why I was laughing. I was dying laughing. I thought it was fucking awesome.
So I guess Mike Santana's
Mike Santana squashed his ass. So
WWC World Wrestling Council from Puerto Rico. Your title doesn't count.
No, that was hysterical. AJC, that was awesome. I need more of that dude doing that shit.
Hey, look, it's pumpkin season. And by the way, let's not forget to shout out our sponsor, Dude Wipes, and the Sports Jedi Network. We're wiping out the competition, and of course, we gotta give love to our sponsor, because without the sponsor, we ain't got nothing.
Dude Wipes. The leaves may be falling, and the dumps are calling. Dumpkin spice season is here.
And that quick reminder that Dumpkin Spice, you can get it at any supermarkets, anywhere you get your TP products, Kroger, Walmart, Amazon. Of course, I have a promo code there, and it's on the video description. Use my promo code if you order online and get 20% off. So yes, so on my video description. Let's go right to it. It was a squash match. Mike Santana comes out, quick match, hits the spin, just beat him up, spin the block. But here's the biggest surprise. He gets attacked again from a cowardly Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland now crosses the line. Mike Santana attacked by Ridge Holland. Your thoughts?
I think if he's, you said he's on Evolve, so that means he's with WWE. So
yes,
I'm going. Okay, so that's interesting.
Connect the dots, baby.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Now we're gonna get Santana up that ladder, with the titles around his waist. So I thought it was cool seeing Rich Holland on TNA. Something different. I think he needs to be used. I thought he had a good run in NXT, and he kind of got slowed down as a heel. Why not go out there and attack the #1 contender for the world title? Joe Hendry's leaving. Santana is arguably going to be the face of that company, babyface wise. So great way to get heat on Rich Holland, have him do something, have Santana do something until Bound for Glory, even though I don't like it. I still think him and Trick should be feuding, but Trick's with NXT, and that's his first duties, unfortunately. So we'll see. But I liked Rich Holland coming to TNA. I think it's something fresh for everything, for everybody.
What I saw, this is going to be his first title defense. When Mike Santana wins the TNA world title and the NXT world title, I'm going to say he's going to win both.
I mean, when he wins both, they're going to have to put both on the line. Why not?
When both titles are won, when he has the title, I think Rich Holland is his first the title defense. Look, it's about, and I've been saying this, and I'll say this again. It's about time a TNA performer gets a WWE NXT title around their waist. Why not Mike Santana? Because he shows up in that performance center where that place will go crazy for him holding. It's a perfect person to represent TNA to hold the NXT title. He's a veteran, well respected, young face of the company. He should be the first one to do that, to hold that title. If it was, to me, I say this and I'll say this again. To me, I always thought it was going to be AJ Francis and Casey Navarro to win tag team gold. I thought they were going to be the ones to capture NXT tag team titles. But of course, with the Casey injury, things got changed and pivot. I think it's going to be Mike Santana. It'll be interesting to see on this Tuesday at Performance Center. Hopefully, I already made the stream for Tuesday, but I always put my request to go to NXT. If I get that second email, I have to try to go, because if TNA is going to invade, I need to be in that building, just to be there, be part of it, man. I would love to be part of that in the Performance Center. Everyone knows I live in Orlando, Florida, so been there, done that so many times to the Performance Center, but I haven't gone in over almost a year and a half, so I have to go back to go there. Hopefully, we'll see where that goes for Mike Santana. Rich Holland working, he needs the reps. He's done a lot of Evolve. Evolve has world championship. I don't think you want to insult a Rich Holland to hold an Evolve title when he's really, it's just WWE ID, some LFG guys and some young talent that you're trying to get them some reps and learn how to work television. You need veterans like a Ridge. For Ridge, going to TNA is going to help him because he's going to work in many different feuds. Jake something, Macklin, there's a lot of great fresh matchups for Ridge Holland that's going to just get him working, and maybe different coaches could unlock something from Ridge Holland. Different set of eyes could see something be used there. We'll see there. We'll get to the main event now. The tag team champion rematch. Grant Cardona comes out He's coming out for commentary. We know Cardona has some issues with Ryan Nemeth. He's on commentary. Matt Cardona is. You get the Hardys versus the Nemeth. I thought the match was, looking at the time wise, it was, I mean, they gave it 20 solid minutes, but boy, the ending came on quick. Back and forth, the Nemeth, Ryan Nemeth, a little bit of sloppiness, a little bit from Jeff Hardy, was a little off on some of his whispers on the wind. But you know when you do those high risk maneuvers at that age, you gotta. It didn't look really egregiously terrible, but it wasn't the sharpest. They just a little bit of an off night for the Hardys. But Matt Cardona interferes, uses or stops Ryan Nemeth from using that belt. You got Nick Nemeth comes out to defend his brother, and of course Ryan takes the pin. The Hardys retain. I think we all kind of knew that result, especially when they put this on a televised tape match, Chris. I thought this match should have went for a bomb.
I agree. Victory Road. I agree.
But here's the thing: Jeff Hardy cannot go to Canada.
See, that's what we're forgetting, right? That's what we are forgetting. So I totally did forget about that until you brought that up. I'm not gonna lie, but I thought the match. Real quick, my thoughts on the match. I thought the match was a good match. You know, it wasn't long. It was a typical Hardy, finish with Matt hitting his moves, delete, Jeff taking the shirt off. Swanton, obviously, these two tag teams work phenomenal together. Ryan Nemeth and Nick, I noticed a little bit in that backstage segment with GM Miller. Nick kind of looked annoyed. So I'm curious to see what I know we're gonna get that brother versus brother feud in the future, but maybe we're starting to get there. I don't know. I'm curious to see now they're on a losing streak. So I'm curious to see how the Nemeths kind of bounce back. But we kind of knew this was happening, especially with what's going on with Bound for Glory with 3D and all that stuff. So I enjoyed the main event. It was not long. It was what it usually is with the Hardys Nemeth match. They all got their moves in. Great finish. And Cardona at the it's going to be interesting. It was interesting, I should say, having Cardona out there for commentary, but it was good. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, remember when I mentioned when I opened up and I said let's put a pin on Doc, which Brian Myers. I think Brian Myers is going to team up with Matt Cardona. They're going to take on the Nemeths.
That would be a good, yeah.
And that's where JDC slips in and comes in and takes Myers' spot, where you have the Nemeths taking on the friends here, the bendable buddies between Mark Cardona and Brian Myers in the tag team. I don't want to see the Nemeth split if you're going to, what was the rush, especially when you're building a nice tag team. I understand Nemeth is so valuable on its own. I don't know, maybe Nemeth wants to put his brother over. His brother is super over. I like my big brother and all that good stuff. And I don't think it has run its course. I don't think it's run its course when him coming out and announcing his big brother and all that. I don't think it has. So I hope they don't rush it. They could tease small inklings. And then when they do it, it's going to hurt out of nowhere when you think they're good together or they're about to win the tag team titles or whatever. And boom, they go on a super kick one or the other. Ryan turns on Nick. The Nick works as an uber baby face. So maybe Ryan is ready to become that big baby face for TNA right now. I don't know. I don't know what creative thinks about, but I hope they don't rush it. I hope that's not something that they rush there. Also a note. You had Carlos Silva at ringside, also with one of the board members who slapped Ryan Nemeth. Got a little physical. This week, Carlos Silva is added into the as a roster, as a performer in the TNA performer roster. So I don't know. Now he's becoming an on-air personality with Carlos Silva. I just hope that they don't do a Dixie Carter stuff with a table or implement where they hurt him. I like the way Carlos Silva is presenting the titles at ringside as like that Dana White. I don't need him to be part of the show as a Vince McMahon taking bumps. He never taken bumps. The guy is fit. The guy does triathlons. He told us his regimen each and every day. He bikes, he runs, he swims. Guy's in phenomenal great shape, but he doesn't need to be taking bumps. I like his role as that face figure of the company, the president. I don't need him to take any bumps right now. I really don't. But If it's a storyline that's going to get them heat, they look. The writers know what they're doing. I just hope they don't go to that well too much.
I agree. I don't think it's needed.
No.
I don't think it's needed at all for him to do any spots like that or really get involved with the talent. I mean, Trick's pushed him around a little bit, but we're not going to get Carlos Silva versus Trick. So
No.
there's no need for him to do anything physical. If you want to do the thing where you push around the boss, that's fine, because a lot of people probably want to push their boss. Shout out to mine, he's a great guy, but a lot of people want to push theirs around, I bet. So it could be a relatable story. So I'm with it, as long as, like you said, he doesn't do any fucking table spots or any of that, because he doesn't need that shit. Don't need it.
But because Carlos Silva isn't the one that making the matches, it's Santino.
Exactly.
So I don't need them to go beat up on Carlos Silva, and then Carlos Silva's the one making matches. I'm like, oh, Carlos, I don't need them to do what they do with Tony Khan. I don't need Carlos Silva to be Tony Khan. I need Carlos Silva to be the president, and let them do the work with Santino making matches, coming out and stipulation and all that stuff, regardless if you like it or don't like it. Don't try to fix what's not broken right now for TNA. I hope they don't go that route. I like what Silva does. We compliment Carlos Silva tremendously. What he does, when the cameras are not on. I mean, you guys, we firsthand seen it with our own eyes, the way he just talks to everyone, and he is a gracious president, great, phenomenal guy. So we'll see. But that is going to be our review, because we got to get up and go to work tomorrow, guys. We get up early. We got to do work. We don't have the luxury of just doing streams and videos and all that stuff. We actually do work, and we watch, and we just do this because we love TNA and we love the professional wrestling, to give us our thoughts and all that stuff. So guys, don't forget, by you supporting us, is liking, subscribing. You could buy me a cup of coffee on the QR code. Donations will be wonderful. I got a kid out of finishing college in the next few weeks, of course, and it helps us get to these arenas, events, upgrade our microphones and stuff, and support the channel. We appreciate it. But your support, just being there, listening and watching along and retweeting, sharing, to me, it's like $1 million too. So we know how everything goes. So thank you, guys. Tomorrow night we'll do some SmackDown watch along, of course, and we got the WrestlePalooza card, and of course we'll back at it again. So appreciate everyone. Have a wonderful night, and guys, stay safe. Buenas noches. See you next time. Que lo bendiga a todos.